I, Mark Carney, do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to His Majesty, King Charles III, King of Canada, his heirs and successors. I, Mark Carney, do solemnly and sincerely promise and swear that I will truly and faithfully, and to the best of my skill and knowledge, execute the powers and trust reposed in me as Prime Minister. It is my honor to respond to the Governor-General's request that I form a government. And it's a solemn duty to serve as Prime Minister at this time of great consequence for our country. Our country is Canada strong. Our government is united and strong. And we will immediately get to work with our first cabinet meeting. Canada's new government is changing how we work so we can deliver better results faster to all Canadians. We have new ministers with new ideas, ready to respond to new threats and to seize new opportunities. Canada's new government is focused on the things that matter most to Canadians: growing more higher-paying jobs, improving affordability, and making Canada more secure. Canada's new government will be action-oriented, driven by a smaller but highly experienced team made to meet the moment we are in. Our leaner cabinet will focus on two priorities in particular. First, protecting Canadian workers and their families in the face of unjustified foreign trade actions. And second, growing this great country by putting more money in Canadians' pockets, by ensuring that government spends less so Canada can invest more, by building millions of homes, by making Canada a superpower in both conventional and clean energies, by creating new trade corridors with reliable partners, and by forging one Canadian economy out of 13. In a few days, I received an invitation from the President of France to discuss a variety of issues, both economic, commercial, to reinforce those relationships, also issues related to security in Europe, in Canada. Similar discussions will be had with the Prime Minister in the United Kingdom. This is sensible. Security is a priority for this government, reinforcing our security, as is diversifying our trading and commercial relationships. Of course, with respect to the President, I don't have plans to go to the United States. I look forward to speaking to him at the appropriate moment.
So when should Canadians expect to go to the polls?
Well, they certainly should expect to go to the polls before November. The news today is behind me. An exceptional group of individuals who are serving Canada, united, focused cabinet, focused on action, focused on the issues for Canadians. I've been clear, personally I've been clear, the ministers behind me, I think to an individual, when asked, have been clear that we will never, ever, in any way, shape or form, be part of the United States. America is not Canada. Look at the ceremony we just had. You could not have had that ceremony. You would not have that ceremony in America. Look at the cabinet behind me. You would not have that cabinet in America. You do not have that cabinet in America. We are a very fundamentally different country.
April 1st is fast approaching, the date the consumer carbon tax is set to increase once again. You've talked about getting rid of it. How are you going to do it in the next 2 weeks?
Your question, how are we going to do it by the end of the day? That's a great question, and we'll come right back to you on that following the cabinet meeting.
In that order?
That's you have a better follow-up than that.
Oh, there is a better follow-up, but just to get clarification, you are going to do it by cabinet order?
Then that would be 3 questions, and everyone else will get angry.
There we go. We'll go back to it. So, you've talked about Trump needing to show Canada respect.
President Trump.
President Trump, yes. President Trump needing to show Canada respect. You said that again just now. Are you not going to speak with President Trump until he cuts out this 51st state talk?
No. I look forward to speaking with President Trump, just to be clear. We respect the United States. We respect President Trump. President Trump has put some very important issues at the top of his agenda. We understand his agenda. We understand the importance President Trump places on American workers and American jobs. We want him and his administration to understand the importance we put on Canadian workers and Canadian jobs. And we will look for avenues to work together so that both objectives are met in terms of both our great economies.
I understand that your assets have been put into a blind trust. I wanted to ask
Thank
you,
you.
what is the value of the assets and where did they come from? How can Canadians know that there's no conflict of interest if they don't know where the assets come from?
That's an odd question, or odd way of framing it. The assets are in a blind trust. So, and can I point out that for those who don't follow this, I have 6 months to put, or 120 days to put the assets in a blind trust. I already have put the assets in a blind trust. And once assets are in a blind trust, you don't know that, by definition, you don't know the assets because the trustees take over the responsibility. I would like to reassure you that the assets that I have were earned through employment. Employment income, employment as a public servant, and employment in the private sector. And I would note as well that employment in the private sector is something that the Leader of the Opposition has never experienced. And I would point as well that complying or meeting standards expected of a leader of a party, let alone a prime minister, is something that the Leader of Opposition has not respected either, and I'm speaking directly with respect to his refusal, still at a time of great crisis, to get his security clearance, something I managed to do in 2 weeks.